Hello, we're live. We are live. We are live. And we're getting ready to start the show live with Bottleneck. We're having Lara Jordan on, and we're going to be talking about some cool things on what Silicon Valley knows about growing startups. So get ready, get psyched. Let's jump into this thing. We'll be back in about 38 seconds to kick off this live with Bottleneck today with Lara Jordan. Well, hello. Welcome to Live with Bottleneck. My name is Jamie J. I am the CEO and founder of Bottleneck Virtual Assistants. But that's not why we're here today. We're here today to help stop the bottleneck in your business. And I'm super pumped because we are going to be talking to Lara Jordan. She's the founder and CEO of Pericus Ventures, what Silicon Valley knows about growing startups. And why do we have Lara here? We have Lara here because she's a digital strategist who specializes in working with early stage tech founders from diverse backgrounds, building impactful businesses. Through her firm, Pericus Ventures, she acts as an outsourced head of marketing, helping startups build out their digital marketing, reach their target market, and gain traction. Her expertise spans growth strategy, digital advertising, search engine marketing, content marketing, social media marketing, and email marketing. Lara formerly led content marketing at 500 startups. Prior to that, she ran global brand development for the French event software startup, Magency Digital, now SparkUp. And you'll have to forgive me today. I have a little bit of a voice problem, issue, challenge going on, but nonetheless, we are going to deliver some amazing content. So without any further ado, please allow me to introduce Lara. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Oh, this is so exciting. Thank you so much. Okay. And thanks for dealing with my voice, but we're going to push through this and it's going to be awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, I wonder before we kind of jump into the conversation, if maybe you could tell us a little bit more about you and your background. And I'd love to introduce you to the Live with Bottleneck audience.
Great. Yeah, so happy to be here with everyone and hope folks here come away with some good insights. So I started my company 3 years ago, merging my passions of startups and digital marketing and advertising. And I'm based here in San Francisco, in Silicon Valley. So see a lot of different startups. And one of the big things that I was seeing is that it's really hard to get traction as a startup, to get customers and revenue, to either raise funding or, keep building a successful business. So I wanted to be able to kind of be an outsourced head of marketing for startups where maybe they're not quite ready to hire someone full-time in-house. Maybe they don't want to hire an expensive agency because, they've just started to get some revenue or have a little bit of funding. So I come in and am able to run the strategy, do all the management and build out of campaigns, the analytics and optimizations, and take the marketing off the shoulder of the founders and help them get the numbers they need to run a successful company and build a successful company.
Well, that's fantastic. I could only imagine how challenging this might be for certain people. We're so focused on, what drives us best, what we know best. And it's all this ancillary, I don't know what you call it, paraphernalia maybe, that's just sitting out there that we need help with.
Yeah.
How to get that going. It's hard to get those. I was talking about this. I just wrote a blog article and I talked about seeing other people, and I don't know if jealous is a word. I don't know if jealous, but I would see people that would even start after me and they're just soaring. And I'm like, what the heck? What am I doing wrong? And so maybe we can start there. Maybe what is it
That's
that
a
you
great
see
question.
most people doing wrong that you can come in and help them with?
Well, I think it kind of relates to what you're doing with Bottleneck virtual assistants is people need help. I mean, even in my business and my career working in digital marketing and advertising, everything is moving so fast. There's always new information out there. There's, you have to constantly be learning and growing. And it's hard for anyone to have all the knowledge themselves. We need to share knowledge. We need to bring in the best people to help get things done. And even in my business, I rely a lot on learning and growing and have to make time for that to constantly keep up with where things are moving, but also pulling in great mentors and experts and partners to provide the best value for my clients. And it's taken me more and more time to realize that's what I needed to do because I can be a Jill of all trades and I want to jump in and get things done, but we have to do it together. And I think you're a really great example of what you've been able to produce by building a really great team and people around you.
Oh, well, I will definitely take that compliment and thank you so much for saying that. It's not easy, right? Like it's hard. So you've been doing this, you said 3 years now?
Yes, I've had my own business for 3 years. Yeah.
And where did
oh
you
my
see?
God, so many lessons, so many learnings.
Well, you
even
kind
the
of
last
answered.
couple of months, it's like some days I wake up and I think, please, no more lessons today. I don't want to learn anything. Can I just have an easy day?
So through your own challenges of being an owner operator, just how much other people may feel overwhelmed in their venture.
Totally.
So where do you kind of get started? Like someone comes to you, where are they at?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I have people at all stages coming to me, but for the most part, the majority of who I work with, they have a launch product. They, they have their idea built out. They maybe have a little bit of traction. They know their customers really well. They are starting to see something happening, but they really need to scale and grow. They know there's all these other things that they have to do. Like maybe they have they've been focusing on product and technology, and it's like, okay, now how do I get customers coming to this product? Or I need to grow my brand awareness. I know I need to advertise my product. I know, once customers come in, I need to grow relationships with them and help them learn about different product offerings and grow the engagement with the company. So really when people are coming to me, it's they're looking to scale, build stronger foundations, set up more elements of marketing, test different things out. I mean, in my job, we're always testing, we're always trying different things. We're talking to customers a lot as well. I've discovered that a while ago that, it's so important to bring the customer in on the to build better marketing, really understand what their problem is, what they're looking for, not just kind of try to force feed them your solution. And so, yeah, we're working to try to reach your target market in an even stronger way.
Which I would imagine, even after you've been doing this 3 years, has probably gone through cycles, and you've kind of redefined who that market really is.
Yeah, definitely. I think that one big thing that I've seen is like it's hard to why I've kind of started to focus on so many different areas is because you can build stellar Facebook ads and Instagram ads and really get that going well. But marketing, it's a whole holistic ecosystem of reaching your customer and bringing them in. So I would focus on Facebook ads, and then I would drive all these people to the website, and then, they wouldn't know what to do, or they wouldn't have the funnels properly set up. There wouldn't be the brand credibility. So the conversion rate was just not as strong as it was, or we were focusing so much on paid, that there was no traffic coming in organically. And so slowly all these different elements have been built out so that we can really have a robust online presence. Because, today everything is so competitive. As you're saying, you can look at different competitors. We're so picky of websites, how things look, if someone has presence here, what their content looks like. That if you don't have a strong brand, you can lose a customer really easily. Like I was saying to a client yesterday that for me, I feel like if you have a bad website, you have a bad product. If their website's poorly designed, then your product probably doesn't look very great. Yeah. So I was pleasantly surprised that they had a really nice product because their website was needed to work. But I think people, they're used to having really great products, and it's so easy to have a really great online presence now because there's so many great companies to work with to help you with design or help you build marketing funnels or help you build content that I think people have gotten spoiled.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I think spoiled. It's getting a little noisy. So people have to be really different, not necessarily better, but they have to be really different in their offering. And I wonder though that this is, you're probably going to laugh at this question because it could be a loaded question. However, I guess it depends on the client, but I'm going to go ahead and ask anyways.
Yeah.
It's a two-part question. Where do you feel you have the best expertise? And it could be on a certain social media medium, or it could be on building out the social media campaign or the marketing campaign. Yeah. Where do you feel your expertise is like the best? And then second, how do you decide what strategy to begin with?
Yeah. That's a really good question, and you're catching me at a good time because especially with COVID and everything, I've been thinking more and more about this because as I've been saying, and I think this is why my narrative is the way it is so far in this conversation, it is really hard to be everything for everyone. And so I really see where I'm super strong is more on the strategy and almost like account management, project management, figuring out where we need to go, what we need to do. I love working with the customer, figuring out what the customer's problem is, the messaging, the voice, what's going to differentiate, as you said, what's going to stand out, looking at what the strengths of the company are, what the weakness is, and where we need to go and driving that. And I think from my standpoint, my industry is super competitive too. There's really great people doing digital marketing. And so I see as my business is evolving, pulling in more and more of those people who are just stellar at content marketing, live, breathe, die content marketing, stellar at Facebook ads, live, breathe, die that. And so I can offer my clients the best of all of those different areas and kind of take it off their shoulders of, in my experience, having to coordinate all of that, having to figure out the global strategy, figuring out, what we're going to start with, where we can move, budgets, negotiating all of that. I think that's where my role is going to come a little bit more. And it's been great learning. And, throughout my career, I've picked up all these different skills and search engine marketing, email marketing. And I think it's great to have those expertises and know it. But as I've been mentioning, it just changes so quickly. There's so many wonderful people doing it, connecting them to these startups and giving them these great resources at a reasonable price and taking all of that coordination off their shoulders. I think that's where I would am slowly but quickly moving into.
Oh, congratulations. Yeah. More kind of like kind of running the operation and kind of building out the platform and then partnering up with unbelievable talent in these specific areas. I think one one challenge that I had, because I can really empathize with you. I'm right there. We used to have a creative web agency, and when I first started, I was building websites and I was getting into it. And then we started growing a little bit more, and I didn't have the time to build all the websites.
Yeah.
And so I hired a web developer, and oh my gosh, my life totally changed.
Mm-hmm.
But what also changed is the latest trends, what was going on, like, oh boy, you can do that? Oh, I found myself calling the developer, hey, how do I do this? You know, I was still able to, I was very confident in talking about, you know, development and things like that from a very 30,000 foot view, but the details started getting, boy, they just swallow me up and pass me right by. Do you see that happening in
Oh,
your business?
totally. Yes. Yeah. And I think that's been the hard part too, is as I've been saying, everything moves so quickly. It's, you know, you learn Facebook ads and then they turn into, well, no, you need to do, or you learn Instagram ads and it's like, well, now we need Instagram stories, or like, now we need TikTok, and now we need YouTube. And, you know, there's just, I pride myself on being a fast learner. But I think realistically, you know, as you've done with finding these amazing virtual assistants who are so good at what they do and helping companies make their lives easier, I see similarly. I think we're on the same page.
I agree. And you know what? A lot of times people, and I want to say this because I want to take responsibility for this, but a lot of people that look at marketers or companies, because of a few rotten eggs out there, gives some people a bit of a bad name. And hey, what the heck are you doing? What are you charging me for? How do I know you're going to follow through? And this is that thing where I was talking about noisy, and it's a difference between being able to talk with somebody, more or less listen to somebody and respond, but not react, but respond to them in a way that helps them understand what is possible in their organization. At the same time, having the confidence to point out what may be wrong, and how you can tweak that. I wonder maybe if you can share with us a little bit about how you develop these relationships and make them extra special, because that's really what separates, I think, all these marketing people out there.
Yeah, I think I hear time and time again from potential clients that they've been burned by a bad marketing person that promised them something from advertising or said they were going to do something, and they just felt like it was wasted money, which is tough. I mean, even in my own business, it's really tough to find great partners who you can really trust. And I find when I do, I want to tell everyone about them. So I think one of the things that separates myself is that I really care about my clients, and I have selected a small portfolio of clients that I work with because I want to feel like that outsourced marketing person. I use the word outsource, but I want to feel like a team member at each of these companies. And I mean, I probably shouldn't say this, but I would do anything for these guys. Like, I really am so empathetic and feel what they're going through, because as you said, you know, I'm a startup company too. So when they're bootstrapped, when they're struggling, they care so much about their business. They care about their customers. You know, I want to do anything I can to make them successful. I would literally like carry their company on my shoulder and just, you know, do anything. So I think that is, you know, what separates me. I hope. I don't see them as, you know, clients. I see them as team members. And I work with most of my clients on a long-term basis. We've been working together, you know, for a year or two. I feel part of their teams. I feel part of their success. And there's nothing better than, you know, getting them the best numbers to date, like the most sales or the most signups, or, you know, helping them succeed and grow. I mean, that's really what my goal is. And so I think in the same vein, I have to humble myself of, I want to provide the best services for my clients too. And I have to to see when, maybe I want them to have the best marketing they could possibly have. So what's the best way to do that for them?
I love it. It's a constant juggle, right? You have to keep analyzing. At what point do you notice a change or a trend that you feel would be better than what you initially shared with them? And and when you do that, how do you go about that, saying, hey, you know what? We're doing this, but I think this would work better. And trust me, let's try it out. And if it doesn't work out, what do you do?
Yeah, well, I think that happens with everyone, because marketing is so much testing and trying. I really get to learn their customers and their product. And so as we're trying different things, we're testing, and we might discover that, some audience that we built on Facebook ads is just performing so well, and that's a new opportunity to build out around. Or we might really try working on advertising is just not working, and we want to bring in more of an organic approach because that works better with their customers. So for them, it's also all about the customers, and I think that will really drive the marketing, and is super helpful from my standpoint to be involved in that. And it's a constant figuring out and pivoting. And I think what I'm able to do too, and this has come with a lot of lessons and learnings, is setting up that foundation to make those, to figure out what the customer problem is super early on, to constantly be involved in testing and trying things so that we can make those pivots quicker and figure out what's working and what's not working. And but it's always learning. It's a lot of learning.
Yeah, it seems to me like one of the scariest things. I guess it's weird because I feel like maybe I have some form of imposter syndrome that I impose upon myself a lot.
Yeah.
And so people are counting on me to suggest a correct thing for them to do.
Yes.
And I hate that whole thing. What is it called? Over promise, under deliver.
Oh yeah, totally.
I absolutely hate that. And it scares the death out of me, where if I go up and stand, I'm confident that I can deliver, but what if?
Yes.
That's freaky sometimes. Let's say, because you really are growing these businesses.
Yeah.
Right. How do you feel confident, or how do you justify yourself, or how do you move forward through those challenging navigational waters, I guess?
Yes, I think that's a really good question. I mean, more and more too, I have folks who say, tell me exactly what results I will expect. Like, how many people are going to come to my website? How many signups I'm going to get? Which is, I can't. I can say based on industry standards what I would expect to maybe get from the work that we're doing, but it's hard. I can't guarantee results. And I think in marketing, that's why a lot of people get burned, as you're saying, is that they do promise results. And at least to my knowledge, maybe someone will disagree with me, I don't think that you can properly guarantee results, especially with early stage startups, because you don't know, you don't even know if their company has product market fit. You don't know.
There's no baseline.
A lot of times it's an innovative product. There's no precedent for the software or the technology. Yeah, there's no baseline. So I know with different methods that we can increase brand awareness, for sure. We can get more traffic to the website. We can increase signups. I know that we can see month over month growth. I just can't give you a number.
Sure.
Exactly with that. Which is
that's a good answer, because that's a challenging question. And the reason I asked it, I was really curious to see how you were going to answer that. And I'm really impressed with the way that you answered that. I mean, good for you. There's something to be said about transparency and honesty. And And that's a big differentiator in today's time, because like you said, there's so many people out there, companies out there, marketers out there that are doing this. And having that transparency and honesty, just wearing it right out on your sleeve and letting people know, because a lot of times, and at least in my opinion, I'm afraid to acknowledge my weakness and say, I'm afraid to say I don't know, because they're looking to me for expertise.
Totally.
And it's really easy to kind of say, oh yeah. But the problem is 2-3 months down the road, nothing's happening. You're in a world of hurt.
Yeah, totally. And I think too, like I'm a pleaser for sure, which I'm working on. So I want, as I said, I care. If I could go out and call people and ask them to sign up, I would do it because I want them to get the results that they're going to have. But I think where I have really developed too in experiences, there's definitely certain things that you could do that drive better results than other things. And one of those is making sure you check the boxes along the line. Like I know so many startups, it's like, okay, we're ready to go to market. Let's run some Facebook ads. Let's try things. Let's get people. And you're like, well, you don't know your customer at all. Could you tell me what your their problem is? Do you know what they're looking for, what messaging? And yes, you can test Facebook messaging or whatever it might be. But if you don't do the work, you're not going to get the results too. And you can't just force feed people a solution. You have to really figure out where they're coming from and what they want to see, because ultimately is about the customer and they're the ones that are going to be buying.
Exactly. Have you seen a lot of changes? This is probably a dumb question again. Have you seen a lot of changes in Facebook as far as the advertising, maybe even over this year? And do you see Facebook as still a good medium to advertise on?
Facebook is a great medium for the older generation, I would say. That's where I have the most success with it. Like if you're trying to advertise to people who are over 40, Instagram is really great for the millennial generation, I find. Where I've seen Facebook change a lot is, especially over the last couple of months, I've seen they've gotten a lot tougher with their algorithm. Like I'm needing to change campaigns at least once a week, something, audiences, creative. Before you could kind of run it for a while and get away with it, but now they want you to be constantly updating it, which I'm finding is new. They're always just releasing new features. And I still find that I think if you're a brand where people don't know about your services, like they can't, they're not thinking to Google your services. I would say Google is another really great platform. But if you're a brand where they don't know about your services, Facebook and Instagram advertising is a really great way to get to reach your customers. And what I love about it, as I've been saying, is that it's a really wonderful way to test messaging, test copy, test content, test images, that you could maybe update your website after that, or write a content piece, or it's a really develop a new audience. It's a really wonderful micro way to get customer feedback.
So you can pretty much do A to Z on the marketing. So you can come up with the program, you can do the Google and the Facebook and the Instagram and all that stuff, and you can copywrite. You're writing copy, is that blog? Yeah. That's amazing. That is one heck of a delivery.
Thank you. Yeah, I come from a journalism background. Originally, I thought I was going to be a journalist, so I love writing. And I'm very creative. I'm not a graphic designer, but I think myself to be one. I have a good eye. And well, early on, my clients and customers, or potential customers, startups were saying, please don't just send us a strategy deck. We have no one at this company who's going to implement the strategy deck. And I saw really early on, and even prior to starting my own business, I was mentoring a lot of startups, and I give them all these great ideas and be like, do this, do that, do that. Or at least I thought they were great ideas. And, you can kind of tell, I think it comes from being a little bit of a perfectionist. I'm like, this is never going to get done. I got to do it myself. So in starting my own business, I knew startups are really busy. Founders are really busy. They're doing all sorts of things. They're working on the product. They're working on the technology. They're working with the customers. They're doing sales. So if I can take one thing off their shoulders and actually get things done for them and get results, I consider that a success.
That's fantastic. So not only now you can say, you should do this and this and this. These are really good ideas. At least I think so, right? These are really good ideas. Now, guess what? I'm going to go ahead and implement those.
Yeah, because we're assuming that someone actually knows how to implement things too. With marketing, you got to learn all these different things. So I know how to implement the things I'm saying to folks, and yes, so full services.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, good for you. Where would you say, I want to respect your time, getting close to the end of the half hour here. Where would you see your company going through this COVID for the rest of the year? Like, what's kind of next for you?
Yeah. Well, I think kind of what we were talking about at the beginning of, finding more opportunities to partner with really great experts in marketing who are wonderful at what they do. So I can, step back and serve more people, do more strategy, connect them with the right folks. I see that definitely being an evolved place of my company. And I'm also working to bring in more the front end side of my business and the back end side. Another thing that I love to do is connect folks, which is kind of where this idea came from, but also, providing more guidance of how to interview customers, find product market fit on the front end side. And so to figure out, how to build a successful product or ideas and that stuff. And then on the back end side, figuring out too how to connect, I'm in Silicon Valley right now. So connecting more people with the next steps of being a successful company, whether that's investors or maybe it's a great full-time marketing person to take over, or I would like to, help them. I think seeing a little bit more, getting a defined schedule and plan for my marketing. Okay, we start with this here. This is the 12-month plan. This is what you do before. This is the resources for you after. And ideally, I want to be like Hinge, where I get deleted and have a successful company, and they have access after to the resources to keep them growing into Series A and B and beyond.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you. How do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so my website is paracusventures.com. I'm very active on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is Lara Jordan. I'm on social media. My Instagram is Paracus Ventures. Would love to have anyone say hello if you're interested in marketing or startups. More than happy to chat with any folks if they have marketing questions. I love meeting different companies and hearing what people are building. So always happy to hop on a call to chat.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Lara. Really, really appreciate the insight. Yeah. And I wonder, before we wrap up, if you had mentioned something about the front end and the back end, figuring out if you're, good market fit, I think is what you said that.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe you can give us a tip or two wrap up on somebody right before they call Lara. Like, what are some of the things they can think of to figure out whether or not it's a good market fit?
Yes, great question. Interview your customers.
Perfect.
That's it. And I would say too, I've recently been talking with a wonderful person who has a really cool company, Innovation Within, who's been making me think a lot about this and looking to partner with his company. So giving him a shout out. But his whole thing is interviewing customers without telling them about your product or service, and really getting insights on their company and their problems or who they are without, spoon feeding them what you're doing to have a non-biased customer feedback. I think so often founders, they are aspirational, they're motivated, they're moving, and sometimes they're so excited, they're pitching their product to someone and they're not, the person is like, yeah, that sounds great, without having a fully non-biased conversation. So interview your customers would be one. And I think too, I love working with folks who are just really interested to learn and grow and test and collaborate. Those are my favorite clients. So when you are, I think it's hard, kind of going back to something else we said of coming in, like, I want numbers of what I can expect. I want, to know if I'm going to have 5 signups or 6 signups. Like, you have to know with marketing, you will get results, but it's a process and it's an experiment and it's collaborative and creative and coming up with an open mind and working together to find the best results is when the best results come.
Amen. Something you said stuck with me is, you devise a 12-month plan, because I think you can't just do this for a month and be done, right? Like you have to put some time in there. What is really cool, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but what's really neat about this, after the 12 months, you kind of know, if I spend this much here, I'm going to get this much here. There's the numbers start coming in, now there's a baseline. So it's oftentimes it's a recipe to really grow the company in an educated manner.
Yes. Yeah, you bring up a good point. I think one of the things that I am saying is, in the beginning, there's no jumping off point. You don't know where you are, so it's hard to guess. But once you start to test and see results and, try different things out, you start to have a baseline. The goal is month over month growth. You start to get traffic, you pull different levers, see what works. And then you see, traffic shoot up, or you try different messaging, you see conversion rates shoot down. So it's so fun. It's extremely scientific and experimental. And I think it's fascinating to be in that open mindset, to really try different things to grow and learn and build a successful company.
I love it. Lara, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was great chatting with you.
It was great catching up, and I hope you're staying safe there with the ash, I guess, that's coming down, or the smoke, and it's pretty gnarly stories I'm seeing from over here in Missouri.
Yes, San Francisco, the city's okay. Air quality is not great, but overall healthy and safe. So I wish that for everyone else too.
Oh, yeah, I love that, staying safe and healthy.
Yeah.
Well, if you can you hold on one quick second and I'll go ahead and wrap?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, hold on one quick second. And we're going to go ahead and wrap up live with Bottleneck. Today, I've been talking with Lara Jordan, and we talked about what Silicon Valley knows about growing startups. And I kind of went off on a little tangent there about more specific in the marketing. I think a lot of us really need to understand that this isn't just a sprint. This is more of a marathon, and you need to be okay with that. So I can't recommend enough reaching out to Lara there. And let me see, you can go to pericusventures.com to learn more. She is the CEO and founder of Pericus Adventures. There's her email. You can learn more about her and follow her on Instagram, and she's often on LinkedIn at Lara Jordan there. If you have any questions, please reach out. I'd be happy to forward them along if you're watching this on a replay. And can't recommend it enough, reaching out to her and having a chat. Thank you so much for tuning in. remember, make your own ripple. And we'll talk to you again soon. Have a great one.